Welcome to your Aligned as Fuck Life podcast, hosted by your girl, Shalvika. I am a life transformation coach, a wife, a cat mom, pure generator, Enneagram 3, Pisces sign, and helping you build an aligned as fuck life is my jam. Out in this world, we believe that there are no set rules for building a life, career, and business. That we are all unique and we should be able to embrace our uniqueness in everything we do while shedding all the rules or bullshit rules one at a time. We will talk all things mindset, manifestation, healing, energetics, rituals, success, and so much more. I believe that I can have it all and you can too. Ready for an episode that will take you one step closer to your aligned as fuck life? Let's get started. Hi, and welcome to another episode of your Aligned as Fuck Life with Shalvika. And I am so excited to have our lovely guest Robin here. Hi, Robin.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. And I've really been enjoying how we interact online and the stuff that you've been putting out. So I'm super excited to be here and talk about this today.
Yeah. So before I forget, we are actually going to talk about stepping into sufficiency to attract. And oh my God, I cannot tell you, Robin, how excited I am to dive into this with you because I think that's so bloody important when you are wanting to attract abundance and wanting to build a life that's on your own terms, right?
Right. It is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Foundational.
Exactly. Okay, so before we start chatting, why don't you just tell us a little bit about you, your journey, what got you here? Tell us about your beautiful life so far.
Well, okay. So I am a photographer, lifelong photographer, and I've been doing a portrait business for women specifically for the
Hmm.
last 11 years.
Oh wow.
And yes, one of the things that I discovered right off the bat was that women weren't being photographed. And I wanted to make it my mission for women to be in an honored space on the walls of their own homes in their photo albums. So
Okay.
this led to this whole exploration and delving into why women aren't being photographed. And it's about not feeling worthy and not
Right.
feeling like they are enough.
Yeah.
So that is what sort of organically led into becoming a life coach
Oh wow.
and led into becoming a life coach, coaching about enoughness, about how to create enoughness in yourself, but also money.
Yeah.
So I coach women on money. And then further down the line, we get into like reinventing your life. So it all stems from this thing that I think all of us suffer from, not just women, but everyone on the planet suffers from this underlying foundational piece, which is I'm not enough, I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
And how do you create life that you want when you feel that way deep down? So that's my little journey in a nutshell and how I got where I am right now.
Oh wow, that is so beautiful. I mean, so when I went full time with my, even before I went full time with my business, like my then coach actually made me book a photographer and do like a shoot.
Really?
Yeah,
That's so
because,
good.
and I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it when I lose weight. And I'm going to do it when, whatever, like, and she's like, no, you're going to book a photographer like right now and you're going to do it. And honestly, it was one of the most, it was a really liberating experience because I did not think that I could be that person, right? Like that I saw in the pictures. And I think that's so beautiful, like what you do. I'm really, really amazed at how your like journey came along.
That's amazing. I love your coach. I love that she made you do that because one of the things as a photographer is, I mean, I struggle with this. Women don't want to be photographed now. They always have a hundred excuses, but the first one is I want to lose weight.
Yes.
which you don't need to, A, because as a human, you do not need to lose weight. This is not a moral issue.
Yeah.
But also, as a photographer, I know how to photograph anybody to make them look amazing. It's
Yeah.
just part of the skill.
Yeah.
But what happens in front of the camera, it sounds like you experienced, is you step into this forgotten or maybe unknown place that you have in yourself where you feel yourself, you understand your attraction, your attractiveness to the world, and you start to sort of like flirt with the whole world.
Oh
And
yeah.
when it happens in front of the camera, it's like my favorite secret moment. I
Oh
see it.
yeah.
I see like there's a veil of protection, of vulnerability in front of
Yeah.
people's eyes. And then I see it when it drops and I'm like, yes.
Yeah. And then like
Yeah.
I remember like there were a couple of pictures that I am like, oh my God, like that. And it's just my face, okay? And I'm like, I look fucking sexy. Like, like that. And I never thought that that happens. And I think again, like bringing it to like what we really want to kind of talk about, I think that is so important because, and I know before we started recording, I was just sharing like why I'm doing this. It's like I feel there's not enough role models for people who want to like, take a path that's not your checklist life. But also, for me growing up, I did not see a lot of like pictures of women on social media who looked like me,
Hmm.
right? Like the such dearth of representation, and now it's changing. Like I know now it's like really really changing, but um, that issue of I am not enough actually stems from, like, for me at least it did back then, from this fact that I hadn't seen others do that, others
Mm,
who
yeah.
looked like me, others who had my kind of a body.
Yes. 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 I agree. And I'm a bit older than you. So imagine that when I was coming up, it was even more like all of the women on magazine covers were
Right. Oh,
traditionally white. They had very similar features. Even the one black supermodel, which I think her name was Beverly Johnson, she had mostly white features and just dark
mm,
skin. But they
right.
did her hair in like a, you know,
Yeah.
traditional silky hair style.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, I love this exploration into self-concept.
Yeah. Oh my
Absolutely.
God. Yeah. Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about how, um, like, what is your favorite thing about helping people bring sufficiency and enoughness into their lives?
Um, so so I work with clients currently
Mm-hmm.
in coaching who are entrepreneurs, freelancers. So they're very talented, very skilled women.
Yeah.
And the things that they struggle with money is like creating enough money in their business and in their
Right.
life,
Yeah.
whether it's because they are underselling themselves
Yeah.
or they haven't created enough clients. They can't attract the clients that they want. So they're taking work that's beneath them, or they have
Mm.
crippling debt or some other sort of like technical aspect of money. But
Right.
it's really like the self-sufficiency part that is so interesting to me because I've
Mm.
shifted it for myself. And
Right.
the best way that I can like delve into this is trying to describe what happens when you don't have it. When you
Mm.
don't have the sufficiency, when you're not in your sufficiency, when you're thinking, I'm not worthy, like underneath all of it, you can bolster yourself with ego all you want. But if
Right.
underlying that, you have thoughts of, I'm not worthy and I don't deserve this,
Yeah.
it becomes the energy of needy. And
Right.
needy shows up with clients or in marketing with it's a repellent energy. Like
Right.
your ideal clients are going to run for the hills when they feel your neediness for them.
Yeah.
And so you have to fill your own need on a regular daily basis
Mm.
before you can reach out to people or before you can like even I don't know, I put the energy out there of marketing in one direction and clients and money will come from a different direction that I'm not even facing. So I think it's sort of like your energy blasts
Yeah.
out in all directions. and then you
Yeah.
attract from directions that you can't even imagine. So
Mm-hmm.
you asked me what my favorite thing about this is. It's so hard to pinpoint what exactly it is. So it's sort of like a comprehensive thing. But I think the favorite thing
Right.
was like, is understanding that piece, and that it's actually really simple to solve, because you don't have to have everything that you want right now. Like you think, well, I
Mm-hmm.
want this beautiful life, right? It's out here, and I have to do something to get there. And so you think that
Right.
once you get there, then you're not going to feel needy, but
Yeah.
you actually have to feel sufficient right here and now.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I've done is like, it's really simple. It's basic. It's like, I have a roof over my head. I have food in my belly. I'm warm. I'm clothed. I have I have at least one nice outfit to wear. I have the
Yeah.
skills and ability to serve this person. And then you show up in service. And you really have
Mm-hmm.
to sell yourself on that. You really have to sell yourself. And it is literally that simple. You don't have to have whatever it is you think you have to show up as the awesome version of you in order to get there. You
Mm-hmm.
just have to sell yourself on what you have right now and how that's enough.
Mm-hmm. But then, so for someone who's listening, right, like, how do you actually like sell yourself on that? Because I mean, it's easier said than done, right? Like,
It
so
is definitely
what would
easier
you
said than
do?
done. I think that it's sort of a regular practice of becoming
Mm-hmm.
aware of any time you have a thought that I'm not enough, or this isn't good enough, or how am I gonna, I really need to get this job. I really need to get this client. I need to get this client. You go into a networking
Mm-hmm.
situation and you're like, I need to get this client. And you just know that, like, start to recognize it takes a little while to get going and to start to unfold and be more observant, but there's an energy of need, and it feels terrible in your body. It feels like
Mm-hmm.
anxiety. It feels like
Yeah.
constriction. It feels like you're putting yourself out there, and there's this like graspy, grabby effect to it. And just
Right.
understanding first, like when it's operational,
Mm-hmm.
and then sort of pay attention to what are the thoughts that are happening in your mind when you're doing that. It's like, oh my God, that's going to be a perfect client for me. And you start to feel yourself like it's like almost a jittery, too pushy. And we all know
Yeah.
what it's like to be sold to by a pushy salesperson.
Oh yeah.
And when you're
Right.
sufficient and you just are like um, sufficient in what you do, confident in what you do, and that's where you sell yourself on what you already have, how you already have what you need today or this week or this month or whatever. Like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
every individual has to sort of decide that for themselves. I think when I first started doing this, it was like, today, I have a roof over my head. Today, I have
Yeah.
all this wonderful food to eat. And
Mm-hmm.
I just sort of
Yeah.
limited myself to today. And then I was out
Mm-hmm.
there. And today I have a camera and I have skills and I have the ability to talk to people and show them what I can do. That's all I need.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of developing a practice of becoming aware of what it feels like to be in need, and knowing that it's repellent and it's not going to really
Mm-hmm.
get you where you want to be. You often end up with clients who are nightmare clients when you attract clients from need. And just give yourself
Right.
a little bit of time to practice it over and over and over again and really become aware. And then just continue to sell yourself on how freaking awesome you are, how you have what you need, how you're headed in the direction of where you want to go.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that we can get caught up in is wanting it to happen really fast, wanting to fix it, want to already be at the end.
Yeah.
Always want to
Yeah.
be at the part where you're already making X amount of dollars a year, whatever that number is, 6 figures, 7 figures, 10 figures, five
Yeah.
figures. It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah. So I have a couple of what's the word? Lines of thought.
Okay.
So one is the first one is, like at this stage, right? Like at this stage of my life, at this stage of my business, um, I think I find it very easy to follow that, right? Like today I have a roof over my head. I have, because I do know at the back of my mind that I have surplus. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But for someone who does not, who's just starting off, who's, I don't know, bills are due tomorrow and probably the money isn't there, right? Like, how do you
Yes.
still cultivate that?
How do you believe when you have no evidence? I think is what
Yes,
what you mean. When
absolutely.
you have no evidence that you can solve this problem, how do you believe that you can create a solution? Um,
Yeah.
in a sort of like a bigger sort of from coaching, like from the observer down to like what is happening in the
Mm-hmm.
human life is
Mm.
oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. In trying to give you the disclaimer, I lost my train of thought. It happens to me all the freaking time.
Oh, it
Okay,
happens to me all
so
the freaking time too, so don't worry.
okay, so ask me again, and I bet I can pick it back up.
So, how do you kind of believe that or follow the process of just today when the evidence isn't there?
Oh, okay, I remember what I was going to say. Okay, so if you find that you're in a situation where you feel like you're between a rock and a hard place, there's no solutions except this one that sucks and this other one that sucks, and
Yeah.
you have to suck it up basically and go either direction. That is a key indicator that you are not in the world of possibilities in your brain, that you are literally sitting right next to your amygdala, ready to press the
Mm.
panic button. And most of us
Mm.
spend a lot of our time there as we move through life. So that's sort of like the bigger coaching concept. But how do you
Yeah.
do it as a human who's in those feelings is
Yeah.
really, it's really, I have so much compassion and I've been in that place many, many times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can tell you that one of the things that I did was, okay, I have these bills. I had a therapist tell me this, and at the time it really pissed me off. But he was like, if you have money problems, these are just technical problems. It's a technical problem and
Okay.
it requires a technical solution. And I couldn't understand it. But one of the
Mm.
things that I did to sort of over time is start to this is what I teach when I do money coaching is I would look at my bank account every day, so online bank account, and I would
Mm.
look and see what was in there. How much is in here,
Mm.
and what can I do today? How can I solve this today? And tomorrow is gonna have
Mm.
to take care of itself because I have no other options. I can solve today. So if that means I can pay
Mm.
$5 towards my electricity bill and $5 towards my gas bill and $5 on food and $5 on, whatever, like I did it, like literally
Mm.
parsed it out in little tiny amounts on a day-to-day basis, but developed the practice over
Mm.
time to look at how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, where can I shore up the leaks?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it was a very technical solution, but it
Mm.
led me to understanding the ins and outs of money, the flow of money, and that thinking that there wasn't enough was never actually a true statement. I mean, I was living the effects of there not being enough, right? Because I was thinking
Yeah.
there's not
Yeah.
enough. So it showed up as not enough. When I started to go, oh,
Mm.
money is always consistently coming in and it's consistently going out. And I started to understand and not just understand the
Mm.
flow of money through our lives, but direct it
Mm.
intentionally. And even though it was tiny
Mm.
amounts, and I got out of debt and I built
Mm.
savings and it created a whole different life. And
Mm.
another important piece of this, I can't stress this enough. Write it down what your goals are. Write down what you want to
Mm.
solve. put it on paper or put it in a spreadsheet, put it in a document on a computer. It doesn't have to be pen to paper, but you write it down.
Right.
And I promise you that in a certain number of years, you're going to find that and you're going to look at it and you're going to go, check, 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 check. I accomplished all of this. And you're not going to know how you did it because you wrote it down. So you write
Yeah.
it down, you kind of forget about it. You're like, I want to solve all these problems, but let me solve today. And then,
Yeah.
5 years down the line, you find this document, it's Googled in your Google Docs in your Drive, and you're like, oh my God, look at these goals that I had 5 years ago, and go, wow, I did that. So
Yeah.
there's
Oh, yeah,
a
that
certain
happens.
level of self-trust. There's certain level of trusting, the universe,
Yeah.
trusting
Yeah.
what people are like people like us are telling you
Yeah. Yeah.
that it's doable. It's doable. It's
Yeah.
magic.
And I think it's also kind of just breaking through the narratives that you grew up with,
Yeah.
right? Like, I
Tell me
mean,
more.
we all grew up with stories that, um, this. So I like, if I were to talk specifically about me, I am like the first, yeah, actually, I'm the first woman to become an engineer in my entire family. Like, like my mom's a graduate, like she went to college and all, but like the first
Mhm.
person, woman to have like a technical degree and like, so there again, there's, I have no idea. There's no one that I can look up to, right? When I am, for example, like building my portfolio, like looking to invest, um, whatever that looks like, right? So it's also about, I think, smashing the narratives that were passed down to you, like this is how it's going to be for you, right? And then taking it and making it your own and looking
Yeah.
outside of your bubble, if I may, right? And find the people who did that. Does that
Yes,
make
it's
sense?
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. It's beautiful. And the part that I love about that, because I have similar
Mm-hmm.
story.
Mm-hmm.
The part that I've learned to love about it is that it's kind of like the next level of growing up, where of growing
Yeah.
into adulthood, of growing into leadership and realizing like all of the people who came before me had this dream for me.
Yeah.
Now I get to
Yeah.
take the baton, it's like a baton race. You take that
Yeah.
baton and now I get to run with it. And so I'm out front and I'm the leader. And then I want to bring, the younger ones along
Yeah.
and push them forward.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So that is a huge shift in self-concept. Is like
Yeah.
when you
Mm.
start to realize like I'm not that person that my upbringing, my conditioning taught me to be.
Yeah.
And you kind of break a little bit, it kind of like breaks, and it might be really really scary, but
Yeah.
once you find your footing, once you build your footing beneath you, then you're like, oh, now I get to be the leader.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Like,
so cool.
yeah, it is. But I think that's the thing, right? Like, again, I think it links back to self-trust because, you've got to have your back like, throughout that entire process of like, finding yourself, finding your voice, finding your footing. And so I'm also curious, like when you coach people on something like money, right? Um, I know that there's a lot of energetics, like money is energy, right? Like there's a lot of energetics that go into it, but there's also, like you said, a lot of technical solutions. So how do you like as if I'm someone listening to this and I want to bring more abundance into my life, like I'm already at that place where my today is taken care of, but I want like an abundant future. Like what would you tell that person?
I like to think of abundance for people on any stage of what they're trying to create as far as abundance or business or, a bigger life, is to think of money, the flow of money like a river. And you have your thoughts and beliefs about yourself and about what you can have are like the rocks and pebbles and sand that's blocking the flow or diverting the flow. So you want to open that flow so that it comes into your life. You want that river to be flowing into you and out of you. And just know that there's enough. There's always enough. So I think one of those things is like we can remove some of the big blocks, some of the big things that are in our way, and then you're talking about a person who's like, okay, I've got today, I've got the next year, I've got the next 5 years taken care of. We're good, we've got it set.
Right.
But then disasters happen, and that might take somebody. They might deplete their savings, their emergency funds, or something like that, and you have to build that back up. So. When it comes to stuff like that and building self-trust, you want to just be looking at what are those thoughts that block the flow? What are the bigger beliefs that you have about yourself? I love to do this money association sort of really rapid back and forth with people just to start off to find out and show them where they are with money. And it starts with like, how do you feel about $1? What is your response to $1? And it goes up in mounts. And then it's geared towards women. So it's a lot of like, how do you feel about rich women?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? What comes to mind when you think of wealthy women, wealthy people? What do you think of billionaires?
Yeah.
What do you think of poor people? What do you think of artists? What do you like? Just to sort of like, and it's rapid fire, so it's just off the top of their head what their response is. And then I like to, after, whatever our coaching container is, 5 months or whatever, do it again and see how that's shifted and changed. So that is a really good way to uncover what your thoughts are about money.
Right.
Because some people will get to like, rich women are, horrible people, hate them.
Yeah.
But then they might have a different thought when they think of wealthy women. Like the difference between rich and wealthy might have two different connotations. But it's really all about digging into the individual's brain and finding what are the remnants, the thoughts and beliefs that are maybe remnants from their life prior to figuring it out.
Right. Right.
And those usually come from family and society and teachers and religion. So one of my big ones was it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. And I was raised in the Catholic faith. I'm not a practicing Catholic any longer, but that's what I was raised in.
Yeah.
So I wanted wealth. I wanted things. I wanted a beautiful life, but I also wanted to go to heaven.
Yeah.
And I was literally taught that those two things could not coexist. I had to teach myself that. The one was just, a warning.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
To not be greedy, whatever that means.
Oh my God. And you have no idea how much I relate to that. Like, I'm a Hindu. Like, I was born a Hindu. I mean, I don't know if I completely still identify with being a Hindu. Like, I believe in the universe, the source. Like, that's what I believe in the most. But then, being raised in the family that I was raised in, one of the things that was really, really important was, how you should have only what you need. Like, you should keep only what you need, and anything excess should go back, right? Or you have to sacrifice for the greater good, for the good of the society. Like, you should. And honestly, I always, even as a child, I thought that, like, why? Why? right? And why, like, what if, because again, like you said, I always wanted more. I always knew that I had these big dreams. And like, even today, like, one thing that I want is I want to buy an Alexander McQueen gown. Like, that's one of the things that I really want to do. I don't know if you know it. It's like this.
Yes, girl. I want to see you in it.
Right? And then if I shared this with my parents, they're going to be like, why? Like, you get clothes, like, you could buy any other gown that's like probably 1,000th of the cost. I don't know, maybe lesser, I don't even know. Right? And then you could donate it and use it for the greater good. And there used to be such a tug of war and so much guilt and shame around this idea of, I want wealth and I want fucking abundance and I want to be
Mhm,
like whoever I want to
mhm.
be. And yeah, I know we started at a very different point, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no, but I love that line. I love that line of thinking. We could go down a tangent. We certainly could.
yeah, yeah. And so now that we're here, I also would like to kind of talk about how like shame is so interlinked with insufficiency. Like, do you believe that? Like, I feel shame massively like drags
Mhm.
into you.
Yeah, shame. I just made a post about shame after a really deep conversation with a friend of mine,
Mm-hmm.
and we coach each other back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the shame, that shame is like the foundational, the basis of everything. That's like every problem that we have in our life is because we're hiding from feeling shame,
Yeah,
from feeling humiliation, from feeling embarrassment. Like it's the way that we can be controlled
yeah,
is if somebody shames us. And I think that there are particularly evil people, there's particularly manipulative people, and then there's just bullies
yeah,
who they just know how to press that shame button, like from when you're a child. And then we got educated and conditioned, socialized with shame.
yeah,
And it feels so, it's so painful to face. You literally feel like you're going to die,
yeah,
feel it, that it's such a really good way to control somebody, to control a mind, and to like um, condition a whole society towards a particular goal or outcome, for like powers that be, government or religion or whatever, bigger powers that go way back. So
absolutely.
shame, yeah. I think addressing shame in ourselves is such a empowering thing to do. And one of the things that I've learned in like grappling with my own feelings, especially about money and about
Yeah,
wanting, about being able to admit, I want to be wealthy, I want abundance. Like
yeah.
that's a shameful thing in certain circles, as you're describing within your
Oh yeah,
religion and your family, the religion of your family.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
being able to feel the feelings of shame. And I don't know if you've talked about like clean feelings versus not dirty feelings in a good way, but
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
dirty feelings being like you have
yeah,
shame, and shame in and of itself is not like unfeelable. But when you don't want to feel it, then you add like you're avoiding it. And so then that becomes another feeling that's piled on top of it, which makes it like even ickier and heavier and dirtier.
right.
And for me, one of those feelings is dread. And dread is
Mm.
such a worse feeling than shame. Like in my body, if I sit with it, it's nauseating. Shame is scary. Yeah, it's terrifying
Yeah,
because it feels like you're going to die because you're thinking, I'm literally going to get put out of the group of people. I'm going to be pushed out into the desert and I'm going to die the hands of a wild
right.
animal or
Yeah,
just by the elements. And I'm not accepted in the group.
yeah.
So that's, I mean, I don't know if I answered your question, but that's just sort of like
Oh
the
no, yeah,
the things that I've been thinking about with regard to shame lately and how it
yeah,
it
yeah.
it feels shameful to not have enough money. It feels shameful to want money. I mean, like how that's your rock and your hard place right there.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. So, if you were to give one piece of advice to someone who's listening to this podcast, what would that be?
Hire a life coach as soon as you possibly can.
Oh my God, yes.
Hire a life coach as soon as you possibly can because
Yeah,
this work is so important and life-changing, and
yeah,
there are so many of us out here wanting and ready and willing to help you get
yeah,
through the shit that's standing in the way of you having what you want. So that's like, of course, flippant because you're a life coach and I'm a life coach. But I guess the next thing would be in developing the self-trust and the belief when there's
mm,
no evidence. I mean, like that
yeah,
is the true definition of building self-confidence.
mm,
And if you have any kind of faith, or if you don't have religion, but you have a belief in, the greater good, if you have a belief in that there's a powerful source of all the things that exist in the world, like just
yeah,
divine intelligence, just
mhm,
scientific intelligence, like
yeah,
believe in how the plants work, how nature
mm,
works, and
mm,
try to try to get out of your own way. Think about that river. Think about moving blocks, your own
mm,
thoughts about money and how you don't deserve, moving those blocks out of the river of flow. And maybe if it doesn't even take that much, maybe you could just eke a little bit of that flow through by just
yeah.
imagining it, just using that thought, get some flow into your life. And then when you have that flow in your life, then hire a life coach.
I love that. That's beautiful. All right, one last question. I love asking this to all my guests. If you were to recommend one piece of media, so it can be anything, it can be a movie, it can be a book, it can be a podcast, it can be a song, a music album, whatever, that's like your all-time favorite that you would definitely want the listeners to check out, what would that be? It doesn't have to be related to what we talked about today. It can be anything.
Okay, so what popped into my head and trying to relate it to what we're talking about
Hmm.
is the fairly recent film, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, the one with, oh, what's his name? I know his
Um,
name's not Derek Zoolander, but the actor who played Derek
right,
Zoolander. Oh,
right.
what is his name? Oh, why can't I think of
Uh,
his name? But The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Let's see, who else
okay,
is in it?
I
Kristen
haven't seen
Wiig is
it.
in it. Sean Penn is in it.
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah. I have
uh,
seen the
it's
posters
a
and the
feel-good
trailer
movie.
also, I think, but I haven't seen the movie.
It's a really fun ride in somebody changing their life.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna check it out. This is so fun. I love this. I love collecting like different recommendations from people and then going and checking it out. It's fun.
Yeah. What's yours? What's your recommendation?
Oh my God, no one's ever asked me that. Oh shit, that's gonna be a tough one. But so one book that I keep going back to or have gone back to in the past 4 or 5 years is um, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. I think that's
Okay.
one of my, I mean, it's not the happiest of books, but I think it's one of the most important uh,
Okay.
books ever written. So, do you know about it?
I've heard of it, haven't read it.
Okay,
I don't know very
okay,
much about it.
yeah, okay, yeah. I would definitely recommend like
Okay, I'll
reading
check
it.
it out.
It's beautiful. It's really, really. I mean, it's from the Holocaust, so it does get really dark, but it's about
Oh, I think I
this.
have a second recommendation.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
No, no, go on, go on. Otherwise, I'll keep talking about it.
Okay.
Go on.
So, one of the things that, I bring this up a lot. It's a movie called Life is Beautiful, and
Oh my
it's
God,
about the
yes. Oh my God, I've seen it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's a hard film to watch.
It's,
It
oh
is
my God,
really a
yeah.
hard film to watch. As much as I wish that I had never watched it, I'm glad that I did
Yeah,
because of this understanding that I got from it,
yeah,
which is like if this man can be in that situation
yeah,
and believe so hard in life being beautiful and the particular outcome and have that outcome happen.
yeah,
I'm just like, that gives me shivers every
yeah,
time.
yeah,
I refer to it a lot when I'm talking to clients about the things that we were talking about earlier,
yeah,
which is like, how do you believe
yeah,
when there's absolutely no evidence?
yeah,
And there's a lot of evidence in the opposite.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a good one.
yeah. Oh, I think you love Man's Search for
The
Meaning because
power
that's
of belief.
exactly what it is about. It's about one man's will, one man's hope to just survive. Like, that's it. That's all it is.
Okay. Yeah,
All right. I had a
good one.
lovely time, Robin. This is so much fun. We went
Me
all over the
too.
place. But thank you. Thank you
Yeah, we
so
did.
much for being here.
Thank you. It was so fun. I'm really happy to be here and talk to you in person, in person-ish.
As close as it can get at the moment. All right. Thank you so much for being on this podcast. Thank you so much for sharing everything that you shared. And yeah, thank you.
You're so welcome. It was my absolute pleasure, and I look forward to continuing our connection.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right.
All right, you have a wonderful rest of your week,
You do.
and everybody else out there too.
Thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. If you absolutely loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on iTunes so that I can keep the good stuff coming. And if you aren't already following me on social media, come soak up some extra inspiration and send me a hello on Instagram by searching at Shalvika P. Also tagged in the show notes. I love and adore you so much, and I will talk to you super soon. In the meantime, continue building your most authentic and aligned as fuck life. Ciao!